It feels like this disease has really been politicized, that there is a faction because it feels that this has nothing to do with science anymore. It's almost just an election.
You fight it with common sense. And I just asked this question rhetorically, like, when did we get to this point that science-based evidence means nothing anymore? And it's scary on so many levels, but I think the most important thing is that people with common sense and of good conscience have to speak up. I think there's this silent majority in the country who's afraid to stand up and say, listen, that guy is not very smart and he's going to get us all killed. Let's stand up and let's show that it makes sense to wear a mask in public.
How can a mask become the symbol of the 2020 election? It's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
I don't know. And it's one of these things that I'm replaying where we've been over the past 2 months, trying to figure out at what point we took this turn. It's a mask that scientists are saying you should wear. It's not political. This is for our safety and for our health. And again, I think people of good conscience will have to stand up and say, hey, I may agree with this guy's politics, but this doesn't have anything to do with politics. This has to do with public health.
We got to ask you, we had the family of George Floyd on TMZ Live yesterday, and it is so heartbreaking, but so outrageous at the same time. And I know you've experienced some of this in your city, your reaction to it.
You know, Harvey, I had a conversation with my mother today, and usually I look at things like this from the lens of my kids. And I'd never thought about it from my mother's perspective. And it was a sobering conversation. What she said to me is, it doesn't feel like we've gone back to 1965. This feels like before 1965 in America. And to hear my mother say that was heartbreaking. To think that her generation made so many sacrifices for us to be who we are as a country, and for her to feel like what she's seen on television is likened to something pre-1965. It's scary. It's sobering, but it's also necessary, because what we also saw in the civil rights movement were people of all faiths and all races and all backgrounds coming together saying, this is not right, and we're going to stand up for the goodness of America. And that's what it's going to take here. Our country is so much bigger and so much better than one person, than one president, than one party. It's who we are as a people. And we owe it to ourselves to speak up and say enough is enough.